If you've checked your mail this summer in New Brunswick, you may have seen one of these flyers targeting gender-affirming healthcare and gender identity in schools. Some people have complained to Canada Post, and at least one mail carrier was suspended for refusing to deliver them.
It's lies and misinformation being presented as truth.
But where did these flyers come from, and are they based on fact? The flyers are coming from an anti-abortion group called Campaign Life Coalition. It's headquartered in Hamilton, Ontario, with some locations in other provinces, but none in New Brunswick. The first two flyers were in support of the Blaine Higgs government's changes to Policy 713, which now requires parental consent before school staff can use certain children's chosen names and pronouns. The Higgs government says it has no involvement with the group. But it's this most recent flyer, which calls for a ban on gender-affirming healthcare for youth, that has Canada Post employee Shannon Aitchison so upset.
This is the first time I have ever drawn a line in the sand and said I said I will not be party to delivering propaganda.
Advocates have said the flyers contain misinformation. For example, this one calls for a ban on child sex change, but there's already an age limit on gender-affirming surgery. To get approved for gender-affirming surgery, the Department of Health requires that the person be 18 years old. For medication, the law requires parental consent for any treatment for teens under 16. The flyers also claim that gender-affirming healthcare puts youth at greater risk, but the Canadian Psychological Association and the Canadian Pediatric Society both endorse gender-affirming care and say that it reduces the risk of suicide. A lawyer for Campaign Life sent a letter to Canada Post in late August saying that any limitation of the group's flyers would be an infringement on its freedom of expression. Canada Post says the flyers don't meet the definition of non-mailable material, which includes material that's illegal, obscene, or sexually explicit.